y'all, my name is Max. I'm an instructor at Youth Code Jam, and we're back with another Spurs Give coding camp. It is the season of giving, and we are going to make a season of giving game. This is a game that you can give to somebody else as a gift, or you can just have fun making and playing the game yourself. So the first thing you'll want to do is head on over to spursgive.org/coding. Once you're there, you can find this activity sheet in a PDF that you can download or just open in your web browser. You are welcome to use this if you want to, or if you just want to code off this video, that's fine too. There are some links on this, so if you open it up in a browser, you'll be able to click on those links. We're going to be using a platform called Scratch to code. This is a visual programming language. It allows us to do a lot with pictures and little images we call sprites. If you do not have this document open that you see behind me, the first step will be to type in to your web browser bit.ly/S G codes, CODES 20. And what this will do is it will take you to a starter project. We're using a starter project so that you can have access to some custom sprites. So if you do have this document open, go ahead and click on this link, and that will take you directly to our starter project. So you can see we have no code here yet, but we do have some sprites already in our project for us, and they're set up on our stage. So your stage should look something like this that you see in the top right of Scratch. And once you're here, you're going to want to log in. If you don't have a Scratch login or you haven't joined Scratch yet, you can click on Join Scratch up in the top right. Please do this with the permission of a trusted adult if you're going to sign up for anything on the internet. If you already have a Scratch account, go ahead and sign in up here in the top right, and that will show, once you're signed in, this green remix button will show. So go ahead and click on that, and what this will do is it'll make a copy of this starter project to your account. And if you're signed in, you should see this big orange share button. Now you can title this anything that you want. If you want to get rid of this starter, that's fine too. It will automatically add the word remix. So you can get rid of that if you want to. And we're just about ready to code. So the first sprite that we're going to code is going to be this gift. So down in the bottom right in your sprites pane, make sure that the sprite that just says gift is highlighted, and it'll be kind of blue. And you'll also be able to see a watermark in the top right of your workspace here of whichever sprite you're coding. Okay, so let's grab our first block. We're going to need a when green flag clicked block. What this block does is it'll start code whenever we click the green flag, and that'll kind of be like the beginning of your game or turning your game on. And the first block that we're going to attach to this is going to be a hide block. So right off the bat, we're not going to show our gift. It is there. It's not disappeared forever, but it's just hidden. Cool. So the next block we'll need is going to be in events. And that's the same palette here that we got the green flag block from. So in events, you're going to look for a block that says when I receive, and it'll have a message name in there. But you'll be able to use this drop down to change the name or make a new message. So let's go ahead and do that. So use the drop down, click on where it says new message, and then it'll prompt you with this box, and you'll type in the name. So the name of this message is going to be start game. And click OK when you're done naming it. It's okay if you have a space in there. So that'll put that into this when I receive block, and these are both hat blocks, so you can place them anywhere you want on your workspace. Even if it's very far away, it doesn't matter. And the next block that we're going to attach is going to be a variable block. Now variables help us store information. So We are going to set a variable first. So make sure you're grabbing the orange block in the variables palette that says set and not change, because they look very similar. And if your dropdown here does not say guess, make sure that you select the option that says guess, because this is going to be somewhat of a guessing game. And we're going to set the guess to 10. This will basically be the amount of points that you can get before you make any wrong guesses. The next block that we're going to need is a positioning block. So we're going to go to the motion palette and grab a block that says go to. And then it'll have a value for X and a value for Y. So whatever these values are, by default, we're going to change some of them. So on the left side, you want to type in negative or minus 270. And that'll put our sprite, even though it's hidden, it'll put our sprite way on the left side of our stage. And in the right side, so mine was by default already 14. So you can leave that as 14 if it's there already, or if you need to type in 14, just make sure the Y spot says 14. Okay, so the next block we're going to need is a repeat block. And we're going to get the one that is a counted loop. So we can tell the computer how many times to repeat a certain amount of code. And we're going to repeat this 5 different times. So whatever code we put inside of this repeat block will repeat 5 times all the way through. The first block that we're going to put inside of this repeat block is going to be another motion block. And we're going to select a block. You might have to scroll down a little bit that says change x by. So again, there's a change x by and a set x to. Be sure you're grabbing the one that says change x by. And we're going to change x by 90. So make sure that you edit this number in this block to say 90. And this one, you don't need a minus. It's a positive 90. And what this means is that we're going to be making some clones of this sprite. So we'll eventually see 5 different of these gift sprites. Right now we only have 1, right? So we're going to use code to make 5 different gift sprites. And that's why we have the number 5 here. And they will be 90 units apart here on our stage. So the next block that we'll need is a block from control. So if you go to the control where we got our repeat loop, this one will be all the way at the bottom, the second from the bottom actually, and it says create clone of myself. So this is what will actually create each clone. Remember, we're going to create 5 clones. And there's no need to change this from the dropdown. We want it to be myself because that'll be the gift sprite, which we do want 5 of. Just to change the colors a little bit. So if you go to costumes here, you'll notice this gift sprite comes with 2 different costumes and they're different colors. So what we can do to have alternating colors is go to the looks palette over here and grab a block that says next costume. And what this will do is just cycle through or alternate through, since there's only 2 costumes, it'll alternate the costumes. Awesome. So that's one big chunk of code. We still have a little bit more code on this sprite. The next thing we have to do is decide what happens with our clones when we do create our clones. So I'm going to zoom out and organize my code a little bit. You can organize it however you want to. Our next block that we need is, again, next to the other clone block that we got in control. And this one says, when I start as a clone. And this is another hat block, so you can put it anywhere on your workspace. If you need to delete a block and you haven't used Scratch before, you can do so by dragging it back over here to where you got it, and it'll go away. So when I start as a clone, the first thing that we're going to do is show. And that's actually all we need for that little chunk of code. This will make our GIFs appear. If you can actually test this out now. you won't have a start game message yet. You're not sending that message, but you can click on this block to run it, and you'll see we've created 5 sprites from one sprite, which is pretty cool. Now we have a little bit more code to write. So we're going to get a block that says when this sprite clicked, and this will allow us to click on these sprites to make them disappear. We do want to do one thing before we make them disappear, and that is change our guess value here. So the more times you click, the fewer points you're going to get. So we're going to change our guess value, and you can get that block in the variables palette. And we do want 1, but we want -1. This means that if you click on a present and there's no hidden gift behind that present, then you will get 1 less point when you do find that present. So it is a guessing game. And finally, we're going to need a block that says delete this clone. And it is going to be by our other clone blocks in control. And this is the last one in this category. So you'll grab this delete this clone block, and that will allow us to click on these clones. And we do have another way that we need to delete this clone is if you did find the hidden gift before you clicked all of the gifts, we do want them to go away before starting a new round. So we are going to get another message hat block here. So go to events and grab a block that says when I receive, just like we did before. On this one, we're going to make another new message. So use the drop down and then click new message. When you're prompted to enter a new message name, we're going to call this one reset. And this will be a message to send to all of our sprites to reset after each round of this game. Now, all we need is a delete this clone block. So we'll go back to the control palette here and grab another delete this clone block and just attach it there. And that's actually all the code that you need on the gift. It should still work the same way. So you can test that out by clicking the green flag, and then you'll have to kind of simulate this message for right now by clicking on this block of code, the when I receive start game block. And you can, on your stage, test out clicking the presence, and it should work just like that, where you click it and it goes away. Cool. So our next sprite that we have to code is the play button. This is going to be to start each round. So we'll need a green flag block to start off with. And you can find that in events. And this time we want our play button to show right away. So we'll go into looks and scroll down until we see the block that says show. Awesome. So now we're going to need another message block, one of the hat blocks. And so we'll get another when I receive block. And on this block, we want to make sure that it says reset here. So if you don't see when I receive reset, then use the drop down and select the reset option. And this is, again, we want to show this play button whenever we reset the game. So we'll get another show block from looks. And we only have one more little chunk of code for this sprite. We're going to get a when this sprite clicked block. So that's going to be under events. And it's going to be another hat block. So you can remember, you can put the hat blocks anywhere you want on your workspace. And this is where we're finally going to broadcast one of our messages. We're going to get the block that says broadcast, and it'll by default have one of your messages there. For me, it says reset. But we actually want to broadcast start game. So make sure that you use the drop down to select start game. And this is another one of those blocks where there's two that are very similar. Make sure that you're not using the one that says broadcast your message and then wait. We want the one that just says broadcast your message here. And make sure it says start game. And then All we have to do now is hide, so we don't see the play button while we're actually playing the game. And that's actually all the code that you'll need for the play button sprite. Now we get to code the hidden gift. This is a sprite that we will put in a random position behind one of the 5 gift sprites. So if you'll remember, we're creating 5 different clones of this gift sprite, and we want to spawn a hidden gift behind only one of these, but it'll be a different one every time we play the game. You can also test out right now your play button, and that'll actually spawn your gifts for you, and then it will go away. Now, we don't have any way to broadcast reset yet, so we'll do that in this next sprite. So to code the hidden gift, we're going to start out again with a green flag event. It's a hat block, so you can put it anywhere on your workspace. And the next block that we need is going to be a variable block. This will allow us to actually gather points in our game. So from round to round, you can still rack up more points. And we're going to set our points at the beginning to 0. That way, if you play and then you want to start over, you'll start over with 0 points again. So underneath this variable block, we're going to get a block that says go to back layer. And we can find that in looks. It may by default, it may say go to front layer. That's okay. We can change this from front to back. And this will put our hidden gift actually hidden behind our other clone sprites, right? We don't want it to show in front of that. So we're going to make sure that it doesn't do that by, at the very beginning of our game, just making sure it's on the back layer. And then we're going to hide our hidden gift. We'll show it in just a little bit. So the next block that we need is going to be another hat block. And we're going to get another when this sprite clicked block. And remember, this will allow us to run code whenever we click on a certain sprite. So underneath this when sprite clicked, we can attach a sound block. So when we actually do find our hidden gift and click on it, we want to hear a sound that makes us excited for finding the hidden gift. So there's one sound already in here. It's a magic spell sound, and it's a pretty good sound. But if you want to add more sounds to your sprite or choose a different sound, you can record a sound if you want to, or you can go up to the sounds tab, and then down in the bottom left, choose a sound, and then there's a whole library of sounds that you can see here. But I'm just going to use the magic spell sound for now, and I'll go back to my code tab. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is whenever we actually do find this hidden gift, so we'll play a sound, and we also want to add points. So however many points from the beginning of our game, if you'll recall in our gift here, our guess is kind of like our default amount of points. And then each time we click a gift that doesn't have the hidden gift behind it, we'll actually lose a point. So back on my hidden gift sprite, we're going to go to the variables palette and find a block. This time we'll use the change variable block. And make sure that mine by default said guess, but we actually want this to be points so that we make sure that we're changing the points number. We're not going to change this by a set amount because we want it to change based on how many guesses we've taken. So what we can do here is instead of typing a number in here, we can, in our variables palette, get this little oval block that says guess. And we'll place that directly in this space, and you'll see how that works when we test this out in a little bit. The next thing that we want to do is finally broadcast our reset. So this is kind of the last step in each round of the game, right when you actually find the hidden gift and click on it. So we will broadcast our reset, and that is going to be in events. So make sure that you're grabbing the just plain broadcast message block and not the one that has the weight on it. And make sure that the drop down says reset. You don't want it to say start game here. And then the very last block we need in this chunk of code is another hide block. So we want to hide this sprite after we have already found it for our next round. Okay, so we're going to get another hat block and start a new chunk of code. This one is going to be another message block, and it's going to be the when I receive message block. And we are going to change this from reset to start game this time. So we have these messages that allow us to communicate from sprite to sprite and sort of coordinate our game. And this one, this chunk of code is going to be for the positioning of our hidden gift. There's going to be a little bit of math. Don't get scared. We're just going to tell the computer how to do the math for us, which is one thing that I really like about coding. So we're going to get another go to XY block. We want to make sure that the right side says -4 or -4. So where it's in the Y space here, where it says Y. And in the left side, it doesn't actually matter what's in there. You can delete it if you want. We're going to put more blocks in here. So whatever it says, you can just leave the X how it is, or you can delete it. The next blocks that we need are going to be some math blocks. And we're going to put some blocks inside of blocks. And they have to go in a specific order. So don't get scared. I will go through the exact order that you need to make these blocks in. So the first block that we're going to get is, these will be from the operators. This is where we can find some of our math and logic. We're going to get an addition block. So you'll see there's 2 blank spaces and a plus sign in between. And you don't have to put this in there right now. In fact, I think it's easier to kind of leave it out for now and construct this whole block first. And in the left side of this block, we are going to put -180 or -180. And this will be our positioning from left to right. So this will be, again, on the left, very left side of the screen. And instead of typing a number in this right side, we are going to put another operator. So we're going to get another operator block. And this time we're going to get a multiplication one. Now, the symbol that we use for multiplication in coding may be different than the multiplication symbol that you use in math class. This one's going to be like a little star. It's kind of hard to see, but it's the third block down in operators. And this time we're going to put a number in the right side. So we're going to put 90 in the right side here, because remember, our gift clones are 90 units apart. So this will help our hidden gift find a random spot. And this block is going to go into the right side of our addition operator. So you can put it in there now, or you can leave it out and construct them all later. I'm going to leave mine out for now and grab my last block that I'll need for this, which is going to be a pick random block. So we'll get this pick random, and then we can type in numbers here to set a range of random numbers. And since we want our hidden gift to be behind one of 5 different visible gifts, the present boxes, we're going to put in here 0 to 4. And it may not make sense right away why we're putting 4 here, but in coding, we often count starting from 0. So there's actually 5 numbers if you include 0 here. And now we can construct these blocks. So it gets a little bit tricky trying to find the right space. Make sure that you don't let go of your block until you see it highlighted in the correct space. So we want to put this multiplication block into the right side of the addition block. And it'll look like this. And then we'll have a blank space in the left side of the multiplication block. and that is going to be where we put our pick random block. So be careful. You don't want to see the highlight like it is right now on my screen, where you're highlighting over the whole multiplication block. You want to put it inside and make sure that smaller space is being highlighted, and then let go. And this will make one big block that looks really complicated, but you know what addition is, you know what multiplication is, and the pick random is, I believe you probably understand what the pick random does. If not, that's okay. You don't have to fully understand what this block does, but essentially it helps our hidden gift find a random spot behind our visible gifts. So we're going to put this whole thing inside of the left part, or the X part of our go-to block that we made a couple steps ago. And altogether it should look like this. Again, it looks pretty crazy when you look at it, but if you break it down into its parts, it's actually not too bad. So, I do want to note one thing, is if you grab from you have to grab this block from the largest part. So this addition part, I like to grab right here in the middle of where you see the plus sign. And then again, make sure that you're seeing the correct space highlighted. So you want to make sure that the space next to the X is highlighted before you let go. Now, our next block that we need is going to be a looks block. And again, our hidden gift has some different costumes. So your gift could be a basketball one time, or a computer, or a taco, or a little heart. And so the way that we can do that is just by saying next costume, and that way it'll be a different hidden gift every time. And our next block that we need after this is going to be to tell this to wait just a little bit. Because we're creating the gift blocks and it takes a little bit of time, we don't want to accidentally show our hidden gift before our gift sprite, our visible gift sprite, shows up. So we're going to just wait for a really small amount of time, and we're going to make this amount of time a half a second. You can find the wait block in the control palette here on the left, and we're going to delete this 1 and type in a decimal or a period and then the number 5. And that'll allow us to wait for half of a second before we actually show this sprite. So our next block is going to be to show the sprite, which we've used quite a few of these blocks so far. And you can find that in looks again. This is going to be all of the code for this sprite. I know that was a lot of code, or it seems like a lot. And let's see how our game works so far. So we click on the green flag, and what we'll do is press play. That creates our clones pretty well. Now let's see what happens when we click on our different clones and guess where our hidden gift is. Oh look, I found it on my second guess. So now if I click on this, I should receive 8 points because it took me 2 guesses. And that'll get rid of the rest of my clones, and the hidden gift will go away. And then we can play another round and gather more points. Pretty cool. So we do have one more sprite to code. This sprite will allow you to add a little bit of personality to your game. So click on the Spurs teammate sprite down in the bottom right of your sprites pane. Don't worry, your code didn't go away. It's still there on your other sprites. So the first block that we need for this sprite is going to be an event block, another hat block that says when this sprite clicked. The block that will attach to this is going to be another next costume block. So just like our other blocks, or our other sprites, this sprite has some different costumes. You can check them out in the costumes tab, or even change them if you want to. But by default, you'll have 4 different sprites of little people that you can choose from. And the way you can choose now is you can just click on this sprite to change to whatever you want your little teammate to be. Our next thing that we can do is add a little message when we actually find our hidden gift. So we're going to get remember we're broadcasting a message when we do find that hidden gift of reset. So we're going to get a when I receive message block and make sure that it says reset using the drop down. And for this one, we're going to get a block that will allow us to add a little speech bubble. And we're going to get a block that says say, and by default here it'll say hello for a certain amount of seconds. And I think 2 seconds is actually good for a short message. If you have a longer message in here, you may want to increase this time. So whatever message we put in here, we want it to be sort of an excited message because you finally found the hidden gift. So my example is going to be you found it with an exclamation mark. And this will play anytime you actually click on that hidden gift once you've revealed it. Now, there's another optional step. So technically, you are done with this game. It's a working game. Obviously, you can always improve games. I'm sure you have some ideas on what you would like out of this game. But if you want to send this game to somebody, since it is the season of giving, you can give this game as a gift since you made it. So you can add a little message here for whoever you're giving this game to. So the blocks that we'll need for that, we can do that at the beginning of our game. So we'll get a when green flag clicked block. And another one of these say a message for a certain amount of seconds blocks. So we'll attach that to the green flag block, and then you can type whatever message you want here. I'm going to type, I made this game as a gift for you. And this one's a little bit longer, so I'm going to play this one for 5 seconds. Cool. Let's test it out a little bit. So let's press the green flag. We can see our message for whoever we're going to send this game to. And then you can click on play, find your gift, and we'll get another little message. That was a lot of code. It's a working game, but I do want to encourage you to add your own personality to this game. So there are some extra things that you can do. You can check out our adventure modes, which you'll be able to find on this PDF that's in our, that's on spursgive.org/coding. So you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there will be adventure modes, which are like suggestions for how to expand your game. If you have any ideas, you can certainly do your own adventure modes and make this game into whatever kind of game you want to. But those are just suggestions if you need help getting started with that. Also, if you want to share this with somebody, make sure that you are logged in to Scratch. Again, you'll have to sign up for an account to do that. Please make sure you have the permission of a trusted adult to do so. But you'll be able to click this orange share button. And once you click that, that will take you to your project page. And this is what other people will see when they visit your page, your project. So you can, down in the bottom right here, click copy link. You'll have to click copy link here one more time. And that'll copy this URL. And you can send this URL however you want to. So in an email or like a chat message to somebody who you want to give this game as a gift to. And if they have a Scratch account, they can even leave a comment. If you share your project like this, this will also allow you to submit your project to us. So there's a couple different ways you can submit your project to us this time. You should totally submit your project to us because we will be selecting a few projects to win a small prize. Check out the Submit Your Project guide on spursgive.org/coding. One of the ways that you can submit your project is to post it to a Scratch studio. So we will have a Scratch studio set up, which is a place where anybody can post their projects that they've made, usually around a certain theme. There's tons of studios on Scratch, and these are really cool because they allow you to see the work that other people have done and get cool ideas from other people. So if you see a project you like in our studio, feel free to remix it. Maybe, somebody else had a really cool idea for this game. You want to build off of that idea. So that's one of the main points of Scratch, is that you can easily use ideas from other people's code and remix them. Another way that you can submit your project to us this time is through social media. Be sure to have the permission of adult before you do so. You can post a video or a picture of yourself coding, or a video of your final project. Post it on social media with the hashtag SpursGiveCoding. It's been a lot of fun. We wrote a lot of code, and I can't wait to see everybody's projects, and we will see you next time.